Hillary Clinton was once thought of as the inevitable Democratic nominee for president, but tonight some shocking new poll numbers shows that Clinton's campaign could be in very serious trouble. Back at the Hannity Big Board is Fox & Friends first co-host Ainsley Earhardt. These numbers are not good.
Yeah, they're not good at all, for Hillary at least. Sean, listen to this. After months of being mired in controversy, Hillary Clinton is now behind the self-proclaimed socialist Bernie Sanders by double digits in two key states. According to a new YouGov CBS News poll, Sanders has opened up a 10-point lead over Hillary Clinton in Iowa. And that's not all. In New Hampshire, Sanders is now beating Clinton by a whopping 22 points. This all comes as the scandal surrounding Hillary Clinton's private server continues to develop. Just last week, the Justice Department told a federal court that Clinton had the right to delete personal emails from her server. However, according to the Washington Post, Platte River Networks, the tech company responsible for maintaining Clinton's personal server, indicated the server has not been wiped, meaning all of the emails that Hillary Clinton chose to delete can be retrieved. Sean, interesting information. We'll see what they can find out. Back
pretty
to you.
Interesting. Well, following it. Thanks, Ainsley. And joining us now with more reaction, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. All right. Sanders, the curmudgeon, cranky old 73-year-old socialist, up by 10 in Iowa, 22 in New Hampshire. And get this. Her support in the Washington Post ABC poll has gone down 21% among Democrats to a low of 42%. What do you make of this?
Well, what I make of it is that she's in serious trouble. And watching her campaign deal with it as a campaign issue, to me, as a person who's been a lawyer a lot longer than a politician, is a terrible mistake. Hillary needs a really good criminal lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean, she is.
This is important because I've been quoting.
She's in serious jeopardy.
Explain.
Well, there are any number of statutes that, if you take the facts as true, and again, they may not be, you would have a prima facie case. The whole UBS situation, conflict of interest, possible bribery, possible explanation for why she deleted the emails, which you could argue to a jury as an inference of guilty knowledge, because if there's any communication between her and anyone from the Clinton, Bill Clinton side, where they were getting 1.2 million in speakers' fees, 600,000
to the foundation,
and then a $30 million loan to the foundation. Any connection at all, you got a bribery case, but you got a conflict of interest case just to start, and you can use that wiping out of the emails. You would get a charge to the jury that creates the possibility of an inference of guilty.
So
knowledge.
This goes deeper than the Espionage Act. This goes deeper than inappropriate handling of classified materials.
Well, there's also a statute that makes you responsible for grossly negligent handling of sensitive government information. Now, tell me that from what we've heard, she wasn't grossly negligent. She's almost
a server
admitted
in a bathroom of a mom and pop shop?
Nobody's ever heard of.
Nobody's ever heard of.
And that one that's a fairly small statute. I think that's a misdemeanor, but it's still a year or two in jail. Now, if you also find on that server, which apparently wasn't wiped out with a cloth, as Hillary said, or anything else.
It wasn't.
If you
with a cloth? You mean with a cloth?
But if you find on there classified information. Now you got some very serious
classified or information she was hiding from the Benghazi Select Committee, or information related to the Clinton Foundation.
Then they have obstruction of justice. I mean, we can go on and on and on.
So talk about this, because if the server company says it wasn't wiped clean, I've got to believe computer forensics experts
well, you got
FBI.
one or two possibilities, right? It wasn't wiped clean, and we're going to get it, or somebody else did. Who?
The Russians.
But who wiped it clean? Who did it?
Well, that's the next question.
Yeah, and do the Russians, do the Chinese, hackers have a good many of these things. Well, so this is a story that's only begun.
But the odds of the Obama administration and the Justice Department indicting her are limited, as they tried to make a justification last week that it was okay that she had a private server for the first time.
Well, first of all of this information is coming out of the Justice Department. Last time I checked, that's a President Obama agency. Well, this could be, death by a thousand cuts.
Well, we're already beginning to see the signs of it. She's down 10 in Iowa. She's down 22 in New Hampshire. If she lost those back-to-back to Bernie Sanders, it would be huge news. On top of that, her support for women has literally dropped to 31%. She's losing in head-to-head matchups against Donald Trump. So obviously, this is now impacting the campaign.
There's no question about it. You can't run away from it. She has given no coherent explanation of it. In fact, as we've talked about on this show, she has given several contradictory explanations of it. And that's the worst possible thing you can do from a political point of view. From a legal point of view, all those things can be used against you if you ever end up being a defendant in court as prior contradictory statements.
Do you suspect Biden? Do you suspect Al Gore maybe, or John Kerry, or any other, maybe Elizabeth Warren? Who do you think gets in the race? Who could fill that void?
Well, I would say Biden and Kerry are sitting in the wings and thinking about it. You can tell Biden seems conflicted somewhat.
Yep.
But you can hear a candidate sometimes when you hear Joe, and then sometimes you can hear a guy who...
Would he be a good candidate? He hasn't been in the past.
I don't know. This is a new time, a new kind of election.
It really is.
With new rules, and I don't think any of us understand them yet.
Because 72% of Americans believe politicians cannot be trusted and that Washington's dysfunctional. Do you think, as somebody that knows Trump better than anybody, because he's flourishing in these polls, big debate this week, do you think he could go all the way?
Yes.
And win?
I'm not going to tell you he will go all the way.
But he can.
I mean, it could still be possible that Bush could
or anyone
pull it
else
together,
right?
Or Rubio or Chris Christie could pull it all together. Yeah. I know you say no, but I see
some of them. I don't think so.
I see Chris as a strong candidate in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
However, the idea that you discount him.
I'm not discounting anybody.
No, but anybody discounts him as not being able. And the idea that he's not substantively solid is wrong. When you see him questioned on issues, he knows as much about them. I can tell as everyone else,
because I interviewed him. He answers substantively. You're right.
Well, and then you see him on Jimmy Fallon. He knows how to make fun of himself.
It's funny.
And I also think don't discount Ben Carson. That's sort of the anti-Trump outsider.
Yeah,
it's like
that's true.
Polar opposites.
They take over 50% of the...
But here's what they share in common, just exactly what you said. Outsiders, no Washington, dirt on their hands, a new approach, and both of them have the tendency to speak honestly to people, and or
people are reacting
straightforward
to it. Yeah. All right, Mr. Mayor, good to see you.
Thank you.
All right.